The non-tender deadline in Major League Baseball is Friday, and MLB Trade Rumors has graciously furnished us a list of possible non-tenders. We're going to take a look at who would be a fit for the Twins if they're non-tendered. This is Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hello again, and welcome back to Locked On Twins. I'm your host, Brandon Warren. You can unfollow me on the tweets at Brandon_WARNE. Follow me on the skeets at warn.bsky.social. And across the screen from me, you can follow him on the skeets at answerdave.theski.social and at answerdavebrown on the tweets. What up?
What if I don't ski? I'm afraid I'm going to hurt my ACL. I don't really ski. So,
well, things are going to go downhill whether you ski or not. So this is just kind of where things are at right now. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network. By the way, thanks for making Locked On Twins your first listen. But again, that Locked On Podcast Network is your team every day. You can find us free and available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. And if you're watching us on the YouTubes, give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe, give us a like, give us a 5-star review. We're doing the 5-star reviews for baseball cards thing. So if you show us that you have subscribed on YouTube, we're almost to 2,000, I might add, and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, I will send you maybe a handful of baseball cards like this lovely Clayton Kershaw number that I just pulled out of my personal collection. I got a bunch of cards on the side here, so I'd love to send you a care package with some baseball cards. Sent one to Dave's lovely daughter that was a Ken Griffey Jr., and sources on the streets say that she loved it. So I think that I can make that happen for you, or if you have children who want some cards, I can send a care package there too. We'll have some fun with it. So again, 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and a subscribe on YouTube, and you'll get a care package from none other than yours truly. You, by the way, can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and get started with $150 in bonus bets if that $5 bet hits. That's at FanDuel. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see that scrolling across the bottom of your screen as well. Today, we're going to talk about potential non-tender candidates and who we think would fit the Twins if they were to be non-tendered. And the lovely folks at MLB Trade Rumors, whether it's Tim Dirks or Steve Adams, my personal favorite, handful of other people, they put together a lot of fun content in the off season, and we're thankful for them because they help us put together some shows. And this is going to be, I hope, one of the better ones. But they have a position by position breakdown that dropped on Thursday of non-tender candidates for Friday. And so, based on what we know about the Twins' needs or desires, or wants, this offseason, and the fact that they're probably not going to spend that much money, the non-tender market is going to be an interesting place for the Twins to shop. Kind of like if you were to go buy, not Goodwill, but like maybe not Goodwill for your clothes, but like Aldi for your groceries. Not that they're used or anything, but just not
used groceries. I don't know about that.
Yeah, that was a bad metaphor. But anyway, we are going to just dive right in. And the first position is catcher. There are 5 candidates. Now, I'm going to read them off and then ask you if any of them do anything for you. There's one I think that I've identified that I really like. So,
I bet I know who it is.
Maybe. Nationals, Riley Adams is projected for $1.1 million. Miami, Nick Fortes, $1.6 million. Eric Haas of the Brewers, $1.8 million. Garrett Stubbs, $1.2 million of the Phillies, and Luis Torrens of the Mets at $1.1 million. First, Dave, because I'm selfish like that, who do you think I like?
Well, can I just say who I like, and hopefully it's the same guy?
Sure.
I think, well, you like Nick Fortes.
Nope, I used to, though.
You like Riley Adams.
I do not like Riley Adams.
Well, Riley Adams is the guy I like. I don't know. Who you like?
Luis Torrens. I'll tell you why.
I used to like him.
48% caught stealing last year, was second among catchers, +6 catcher caught stealing runs above average, one of the top pop times, and a 90 weighted runs created plus. You could, as they like to say on Moneyball, recreate Christian Vasquez in the aggregate. Or just, get a cheaper version of him.
Yeah, but then what do you do with Christian? Can we non-tender? We can't non-tender Christian Vasquez.
No, but I have made a declaration, or in my mind, I have decided $10 million is too much for a catcher who is not your starter.
Yeah, why do Twins do that?
I don't know.
Get him here?
Maybe, but with that said, the pedigree of Christian Vasquez catches for winning teams, the defensive metrics that I looked up for each of these 5 guys, like Christian Vasquez figures pretty prominently on most of them. And so I think there will be a marketplace, even if you accept a lesser return and someone else takes on the last $10 million owed to him. I think you can spin around and sign a guy like Luis Torrens, who, again, the expectation was
$1.1 Torrens alarm now.
Yeah, exactly. $1.1 million. And then spread that money around, maybe on some other non-tenders.
Possibly. Riley Adams, not last year, but 2 years ago, and then 4 years ago, was a really good hitter, and looked like the Nationals had a bunch of catchers, who were going to be pretty good, and I'm not sure if any of them are going to be any good. As it turns out, Adams does not rank as highly as Fortes or Torrens on the defensive side of things.
The defensive metrics hate Riley Adams.
Yeah. But, I mean, they didn't like, there's a whole bunch of other people, too, that I don't know. I don't know, 1 year defensive rankings again, metrics. I don't question. I take them with a grain of salt. I'm not sure if that's an end-all, be-all. But I just have – my issue – isn't that, if we were like running an online APA team or some kind of Otanu business, I could see where you're going with this. But I just, $10 million for Christian Vasquez is just kind of the going rate for him, apparently. I don't know how you get around that. That's the thing. I don't think any of these guys are helpful, because I think, for lack of a better phrase, the Twins are stuck with Christian Vasquez. I think there are maybe worse things to be stuck with, but I think he's going to be on the team. Because if you traded him, you'd have to either get like nothing back, or you'd have to pay a lot of the freight. And I don't think the Twins are of a mind to do that. They like to get someone else to pay. So, but I like Nick Fortes a little bit. I like Riley Adams' bat. He's kind of redundant, though, when it comes to Ryan Jeffers. I really hope Ryan Jeffers gets with the catching coordinator and bounces back there. That would be huge for the Twins. And I think hopefully Christian Vasquez will be okay for 10 million.
And if that happens, if nobody wants Vasquez at $10 million, I'm not looking to pay the freight and then pay the difference to a backup, and then all of a sudden you're still $10 million in for a catcher with no net gain and almost certainly net loss. So, yeah, if you can't get – and I'm not trying to force Vasquez out the door. He's obviously been a valued member of some really good teams. But
$10 million for your not everyday start, your
it's because of the payroll implications or the purse strings being tightened by the man upstairs, not that man upstairs, but the other man upstairs.
Yeah, by the pole lad upstairs.
The poor lad upstairs. Then that's where you make tougher decisions. And let's do this. First base, there's 3 candidates. Connor Joe of the Pirates for $3.2 million. Gavin Sheets of the White Sox for $2.6 million. And not to be outdone, but definitely to be outpaid, Andrew Vaughn $6.4 million with the White Sox. Gavin Sheets, to me, has that MJ Melendez. Like, I look at the guy and I see a hitter, but it just has not been there yet. Andrew Vaughn, I'm convinced, is going to get non-tendered and then feed families with his production with the Rays this year. And you know what they'll do?
That could happen. That very well could happen.
They'll do that.
Going to like show everybody. You know, I don't know if people realize this, but the White Sox are not very good at what they do. And if that happens with Andrew Vaughn, and there's a non-zero chance of it happening, I mean, it very well might. That is going to be embarrassing and telling.
Do you know what's going to happen? They're going to trade Yandy Diaz to the Twins, like I pounded the table for a couple days ago. And then they'll sign Andrew Vaughn for pennies on the dollar, turn him into a 120 weighted runs created plus guy, and then flip him for his, I think he's got one more year of ARB eligibility after that. Or they'll come out like bandits in this whole thing.
Are any of these guys interesting for the Twins? Is the
Connor Joe
question
is like a dollar store version of Carlos Santana, not power, but he gets on base. He's more maybe along the lines of like a Josh Bell, a diet Josh Bell, which I don't know how much value is in that, but he can play the outfield too. He gets on base. He's not the worst. Can you
bottle that, a diet Josh Bell, and does that come in like orange?
This is not one of those fountains that has like all the different flavors. You get what you get.
Connor Joe, and I can't prove this exactly, but it seems like every year Connor Joe, and when I hear Connor Joe, I think of Cotton Eye Joe.
I have a joke for that. One of my most viral tweets in the last few years, the Twins were facing the Rockies, and I think it was a day that German Marquez pitched. But anyway, it was a national telecast, and I had a tweet where I snapped a picture of the score bug, and it was Jarrell Cotton facing Connor Joe, and there was a 1 before Joe because he led off that day, so it looked like Cotton Eye Joe. And I think I got like, I don't know, hundreds of retweets and thousands of likes. So thanks for helping me go viral, Connor Joe.
Can you send me that somehow? Like, can you sell that tweet and send it to me like in a frame or something?
An NFT.
I would put that on my wall.
Like an NFT.
Yes, like an NFT, but make it real.
Not even, I have lots of
an NFT, something that you can hang on the wall. I guess you could print out an NFT and hang it on the wall. But then is it an NFT anymore?
Well, no, for me, they're non-funny tweets as an NFT. So I mean, I got lots of those.
Did you just invent that joke right now? Non-funny tweet?
Yes.
Just now.
I have moments.
Where was that 5 years ago?
I have moments.
Did anybody ever say non-funny tweet?
No, I have moments where I'm brilliant and then moments where it's like, who is this guy?
Connor Joe, he's got something. He's sort of like, you know, he's actually kind of like Andrew Vaughn a little bit. He's had a couple of years where he's been 5, 10, 15% over average in, not a huge amount of at-bats. I don't think any. Would I take a chance? The guy to take a chance, I think, is Andrew Vaughn. I think if you're the Twins, if that's a guy that if you don't have any money for Carlos Hernandez, you're not going to get a really good defensive player. Carlos Santana. I'm sorry. Carlos Hernandez coming up later in the show, though.
We might have to do a second episode for pitchers based on how this one's going.
Right. Are you telling me to hurry it up?
No.
Well, why don't you?
Because I like having multiple episodes. It takes some work off our plate.
I don't know if I were the Twins that I would trust. I still think the Twins can contend. Sue me.
Yes.
I don't know that I would trust Andrew Vaughn finding it with them or not. I don't know. Does he work with Borgschlut? Maybe, but so I don't know. And I don't think Gavin Sheets is a guy who for like 3 weeks at a time can hit, but then there's like 6 weeks go by, 8 weeks go by, and then maybe another 3 weeks go by, and then like 12 weeks go by, and then 3 good weeks go by. So that's how it kind of adds up for sheets, and you don't really want him at first. You definitely don't want to play him in the outfield. Vaughn, at least you could put him at first, and maybe if everything comes together. So, but the Twins, that's shopping at the bargain basement. I think the Twins are better than that. I say skip all three of these guys. So, where did he come from? Where did Connor Joe come from? Pittsburgh. Where did he go? I don't know, but I don't think it's Minnesota.
Well, that sounds good to me. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about some other infielders and then maybe do outfielders for the final segment. And we'll get an extra episode from pitching because there's a lot of
brilliant idea. Brilliant.
Yes. All right. Well, let's take that first break. Well, our friends over at Gametime and the Gametime app, or gametime.co, if you insist on using the desktop version, don't put that M on the back of that address. Just don't do it. You're not going to want to do it. But if you're looking for tickets to a concert, a comedy show, you name it, they've got it. Sports events, obviously, that's why they're here. Pull up that app, thumb through it. And if you're looking for something to do on a Friday, Saturday, even a Tuesday night, they've got you covered. And I have banged the drum for the all-in pricing. Toggle
what about the table? Did you bang the table?
No, that was different. Oh boy, the double entendres are in full force here.
I didn't say bang on the table.
Well, either way, if you are looking for tickets, though, and you toggle that all in, it'll give you the price that you're going to pay at the end of the transaction, which to me is a huge deal. I don't want to see $25 and then pay $60 when the convenience fees, who are those convenient for, are added at the end. So toggle that on, look at the panoramic views. They'll show you what your seat's going to look like if you're at US Bank Stadium or Target Field or, the parking lot near TCF Bank, now Huntington Bank Stadium. No, I'm kidding. They won't have anything like that. But from where you'll sit, you'll have a pretty good idea of what the stage or field is going to look like. And to me, that's pretty exciting. The lowest price guarantee also will guarantee you that Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference if you find a ticket in the same row for less elsewhere, which is a pretty great deal. And your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the game today. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB, and you'll get $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Now, Dave, we are looking at second, third, and short. Those are bases, and then the space between second and third.
Those are bases.
Yes, covering all our bases, which is wise. For second baseman, they have Nick Madrigal and Brendan Rodgers. I have Brendan Rodgers highlighted only because that's a name I've heard before. Very Norm Macdonald joke. Yeah, I've heard of him. Do either of those guys do anything for you? The Twins do not have an answer at second base proper. Now, I know you're a big fan of Brooks Lee. I don't know if that means Brooks Lee, though, will be the starter on day one. They do have some, he's got options left and that sort of thing. Brendan Rodgers, there is something to be said about you can't get the guy out of the Rockies, but you can get the Rockies out of the guy.
Connor Joe was a Rocky as well. So keeping in with the theme. And I feel like you really want to call him Brandon Rodgers.
I do not.
You
maybe
want,
maybe a little.
All right. Here, I'm not saying we have to end the discussion, but this is the beginning and the end with Nick Madrigal. Do not.
He's bad.
Stay away. The White Sox took Nick Madrigal with the 4th pick in the draft. He can't play shortstop. He doesn't really run the bases. He doesn't walk. He doesn't hit for power. What did they see? I don't want to relitigate all the old White Sox stuff, but
he went 5 picks ahead of Kyler Murray. What does that mean to you?
He could not even be a quarterback. No, I would not want Nick Madrigal at the family football game on Thanksgiving, I would not want him on my team for that either.
Okay,
so
calm down, Sam. I am.
It's not.
I do not want him at second or third. I do not want him if my hat has a bird. Okay, Orioles don't want him.
So bad. And then they trade the Cubs. There's a cursed trade. Craig Kimbrell for Nick Madrigal. Kimbrell has had at least some moments. I don't know what Madrigal does. I mean, you don't really want him at second, and he does.
Sounds like magical almost, but he's anything but.
Well, Madrigal, there's like Madrigal dancers and stuff, and in another context, it's a good word for that. But I don't even want him dancing. So no on Nick Madrigal. Brando Rogers. I play fantasy baseball, which means I've been waiting for 5 years for Brendan Rodgers to be a decent fantasy baseball player just because he plays at Coors Field. And it's never happened. So he does, he has shown some things defensively at times. At second,
he did Gold Glove,
right?
But he's not. There's no shortstop in there anymore.
No. I don't. There never was one. He doesn't have. He does not help the Twins. This is kind of a sort of an Andrew Vaughn-ish kind of a player here. And he does. The Twins should play Brooks Lee at second, and if they don't, I don't know. I would be interested in reuniting with Jorge Polanco if you're going that way.
I do like that, especially
Brando Rogers.
Brendo, I believe is what we call him. Anyway,
flip the coin.
Third baseman John Berti, Santiago Espinal, Emmanuel Rivera, and Josh Rojas.
Josh Rojas, pretty much the starting third baseman for the Mariners.
$4.3 million. That's an easy no-go. 1.4 for Rivera, $4 million for Espinal, 3.8 for Berti. By the way, Madrigal was 1.9 million and Brendan Rodgers was 5.5. Madrigal at that number, absolutely no chance. He's going to be a minor league deal kind of guy.
I have a funny-ish John Berti story, kind of.
I'll be the judge of that.
Yeah, you will. So the Yankees played the Royals in the first round of the playoffs, and second round of the playoffs. The first round was the Yankees didn't play, right? No, they did. I don't remember. The Royals played in the first round. They beat the Orioles, and then so it was a first round for the Yankees, I think. Am I right? So Berti's playing first base for the Yankees. He'd never played first base before. And he did well. He made some nice plays, and he was one of the little reasons the Yankees won. Giancarlo Stanton going bonkers at the plate was maybe a bigger reason, but John Berti helped playing first base. And in the post-game celebration at Kauffman Stadium, I talked to Berti. I did some writing for Field Level Media, and their stories are out there if you want to read them. Like, go on Reuters and look for my name. I mean, we're not talking about great work.
Jose Canseco's website, isn't it?
What's that?
That's Jose Canseco's website, Reuters. Sorry, I'm trying to delete it.
Good. That's good. It's the second one. Not funny tweet NFT. I don't know why I find that so funny, and I really hope that nobody ever said non-funny tweet NFT. Because I'm gonna do a search. I'm sure the search function's broken, so we won't be able to tell for sure.
I'm having a stretch of things making me laugh harder than they should. Like,
I am so excited about non-funny tweet, but NFTs are dead, so it's like, and Twitter's dead. We can't even really use it anymore.
Well, this one was disgusting scene at Jerry World. A Cowboys fan was subdued and forced to watch the entire game. I don't know.
That Onion?
No, it was probably from something like that.
Do we have any more commercial breaks? Can I just keep talking?
Just keep talking. We're running long. We'll do a commercial break in a little bit here. By the way, John Berti, no relation to former twin Nick Berti.
But they did play together for a while. I found that, or maybe it was Zach. I get Zach and Nick mixed up. But
well, I was thinking of one of my favorite Carson Sestouli bits from when I was with him in Arizona, and somebody goes, "They're not even spelled the same, you idiot." And he goes, "Yeah, well, Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen's last names aren't spelled the same, and they're related, you idiot." And I was like, "Okay, that's a pretty good one."
I wish I was as funny as Carson Sestouli and as employed.
Yeah.
So John Birdie, so I talked to him at first. I'm like, "Hey, is that Austin? Is that the catcher?" No, it's John Birdie. But I got my mustaches mixed up. I'll talk to John Birdie. He played good defense. So I talked to him. Then I come back, and the Yankees have they're celebrating. So there's corks on the ground, and there's disco music going on, and they're pouring champagne and beer on each other. And it's dark though. They turn the lights off, so it looks like a disco, right? So I feel something at my feet. And it feels like a monster or something is grabbing my shoe and not letting me go. And I'm like, I'm not sure what it is. I'm tangled. It didn't feel tangled, but I was caught up in something. Well, I get free for a second, and then it happens again, and then I can't get away. But I still, rather than looking for whatever the issue is, I'm like, all right, I can pull my leg up and just get away from this. But I couldn't do it. I ended up stumbling and losing my balance and falling into John Birdie as he was doing an interview on TV. And then he caught me, basically. He prevented me from being more embarrassed and more injured.
Hero.
And it was we laughed it off. It was funny.
Yeah.
The out of shape reporter and the baseball athlete. It was funny. It was on, live Yes or whatever in New York. Me and Meredith Morakovitz. But okay, so it's okay, right?
Yeah.
Then against Cleveland, Birdie gets hurt. He comes out of a game, and I'm thinking to myself, he had a hip flexor. Did I injure John Birdie by falling into him in the celebration after the Royals game? I thought for a day that I might have had something to do with that. And I was so ashamed of myself. As it turns out, he was hurt in the game, I think on a slide. But that's my brush, or in this case, embrace of
your crush.
Yes, with Birdie. So I banged into a little birdie, and I thought I hurt him, but I didn't.
Well, if the Yankees say bye-bye Birdie, then I think it would make sense for the Twins. That's what they were saying to Bert Blyleven when he
on a roll here.
Bye-bye Birdie. They were saying that to Bert Blyleven once, and he flipped off the fans. I think that one was maybe Texas, but I'm not sure. Anyway, Birdie could make some sense. He plays all over, and
the point of the whole thing, Birdie. I would be interested in Birdie because of his ability. I don't know if he still runs anymore, but he used to with the Marlins in the outfield. You could put him. Yes, I would not be uninterested in John Birdie.
Last 3 years, 88, 98, 90 OPS plus. That comes out to 93. It's a 268, 335, 368 slug. Very Jamie Carroll-esque, although he doesn't play shortstop, or at least he didn't this last year.
And he's a guy sort of like Brando Rogers, where he's, for fantasy purposes, he stole a lot of bases for a while. So he'd be an interesting. He plays for the Marlins, who aren't very good, so he's going to get a lot of run, and he steals bases. So that's a guy you wanted on your team just in case something good happened, and sometimes it did.
Yeah. Let's run through the shortstops really quickly. The Twins don't need third base help that much, so it does help to have positional versatility with Birdie. The shortstops are Jorge Mateo at $3.2 million, Zach McKinstry at $1.3 million, Tyler Wade at $900,000, and Taylor Walls at $1.3 million. Now, Jason Collette, who I think the world of, he's always been a fun writer for fantasy stuff, and he's a Rays fan, big UCF fan too. Mentioned that there are 6 players since 1995 with at least 1,200 plate appearances who have a sub 200 batting average. 4 of them were catchers. One of them was Joey Gallo. And then he said the other one is blank. And now my guess was Dylan Moore, because somebody had guessed Dylan Carlson, and he said, wow, you're close. And I thought, close, maybe like same name, Dylan Carlson, Dylan Moore. No, what he meant was Taylor Walls, I don't know how that was close, but whatever. At 1.3 million, Taylor Walls at his best is a tremendous defensive shortstop. Hits left-handed pitching a little bit, and also might be crazy. Like, I know people on Twitter don't really care. Like, now that likes are private, I think he's probably a little happier about that.
He's made some choices politically that some people might disagree with. Is that what we're saying?
We're not here to political kink shame or anything like that, but just that's what people say about him. Not that makes him an anomaly, because a lot of people say a lot of
conservative ball players. Are you kidding?
Shocking. Yeah. Oh, I have another fun story on that one too.
I'll be the judge.
When Garrett Cole signed his deal and he got his Garrett back in the day, like
Garrett's Cole. Okay. Yeah.
Back in the day, he had signed it right around the time he was like in Arizona Fall League or something. And I don't know how this all came to be, but a player saw him get his pay and he's like, wait a second, why did I only get half of this? Where's the other half? And another player goes, welcome to the Republican Party.
Right. Like, yeah. Well, that's that doesn't necessarily make him a certain kind of conservative, but
no, that was just funny to me. Like another fellow.
That is, absolutely.
Anyway, so Taylor Walls, maybe of Truth Social standing.
Speaking of dead social media outlets.
Yeah. No. Wouldn't be Elon Musk if he wasn't obsessing about his ex. Taylor Walls.
All right, your streak's over.
Yeah, it's over. Taylor Walls at shortstop for the Twins as a backup. I could see it. I mean, they don't really have a great backup shortstop behind Carlos Correa, and if anything became evident this year, you may need that. So I don't know. I mean, that's the one I kind of think is interesting-ish.
Nah.
No. Okay. Well, let's do our final break, and then we'll do some outfielders.
Break.
Yes.
Should we make this 3 shows?
No. We're already past the 32-minute mark anyway. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book right now. New customers get $5 they get $150 in bonus bets if their first $5 bet wins. How would that be? $150 bet, and if it wins, you get $5. That's almost what I said, but it's $5 bet. If it wins, you get $150 in bonus bets from FanDuel. Their sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. That app you can get in the middle of the game. If you've got a hunch, you pull that thing up and you've got the latest stats, live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet hits. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. That one wasn't quite as pronounced. NFL. So outfield, when you look at outfield for the Twins, the needs are, maybe some backup and center, though a lot depends on, do you trade Willie Castro? How much do you trust Austin Martin out there? How close is Emmanuel Rodriguez? All those things are part of the calculation. In the corners, replacing Max Kepler, almost certainly. Getting right-handed. You're more right-handed in the outfield with Wallner and Larnick and all that. Even Deshaun Kiersey swinging it from the left side. Center fielders listed. There's only 4. Trent Grisham, former Trent Clark from the Yankees, $5.7 million. I don't think the Yankees can decline that fast enough. I think they kind of grew tired of him. Mickey Moniak of former, wasn't he the #1 overall pick by the Phillies like 10 years ago?
It was something like that. It was really, the first overall pick in 2016. I thought maybe it was the second or third, but yeah. Absolutely hysterical. The thing about Mickey Moniak, and you got to be a maniac to like Mickey Moniak, his strikeout to walk ratios are just, he's put up some, oh my God. Last year, 114 strikeouts, 21 walks. I think that tells you all you really need to know. Year before that, 113 strikeouts in 323 plate appearances.
Ooh.
9 walks. He couldn't even get to 10 walks.
Even Javier Baez is pointing and kind of smirking.
Year before that, with the Angels, his first 19 games with the Angels, 25 strikeouts, 1 walk. So he did it. I don't know how that happened, but he got on base with a walk. Overall, for his career, 293 strikeouts and 856 career at bats. So,
well, he's expected to get 1.8 million via Matt Swartz's arbitration projections. Leody Taveras of the Rangers is 4.3 million, another former top prospect. Can't do the Levine connection anymore because he's no longer in the picture. And then Eli White of the Braves, 800,000. Any of those guys do anything for you? I have Trent Grisham highlighted, and only because I have what I believe to be inside information that the Twins tried to trade for him maybe 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, I think a bunch of teams did. I don't like to assume things about baseball players by watching their body language or, if it doesn't come out of their mouth or if it's not really obvious. I don't know if I've ever seen a player that looked less interested in playing baseball or anything else than Trent Grisham. He looks freaking bored out of his mind.
I can do one for you, and it's a former Twin who played for the Yankees. You got any guesses?
Aaron Hicks?
Yes, Aaron Hicks. There was a rumor or a story where Aaron Hicks showed up, and they asked him who was starting that day for the other team, and he had no idea. Not a good look.
Sometimes I felt like I was the last to know as a reporter.
Sure, but as a reporter, that's a little different. You pull up and it says Mike Messina's pitching, and first of all, you're like, what year is it? And second of all, you're like, oh, I can look at some numbers quick and I have a general idea. Not so much when you're, the opposing batter. You got to kind of know what you're getting into, especially as a switch hitter. You got to work on your swing from that side for that day.
It hasn't, so it hasn't borne out. I liked Leody Taveras a couple years ago. He's really low defensively.
Yeah.
A lot in the last couple years. And it's been a couple years now of negative numbers over at Fielding Bible, my go-to.
He's doing the Manuel Margot, but way sooner.
Right. He's like 25 and he's just, I don't know.
Yikers.
So, I mean, that would be a guy that if there was something to fix, maybe that would be an interesting outfielder. But I don't know.
Net Odor, though, like 229, 289, 352 last year at his peak, 266, 312, 421.
The peak, I like the peak. The peak I could peak at.
Double-digit homers and double-digit steals. Like, there's something there. There was a Rays outfielder before that he reminds me of, had that Desmond Jennings. Did he do something like that, too?
Oh, I remember Desmond Jennings, yeah.
Jennings, part of my theory, where there was
I'm not sure about your analogy, but
there was a stretch there where players with about 7 to 10 big league WAR were constantly being hacked on Twitter and being turned into we have a PS5 to give away accounts. And for whatever reason, it was like Desmond Jennings and like all these guys who were like between 7 and 10 career WAR, and it was like that person had next to grind with guys who were decent players but not great players.
Did anybody else put together that they had 7 to 10 WAR?
No.
That was just you. That was your contribution to the the
discourse analysis.
Discourse, the meme, the meme. So I would say I'd invite Leody Taveras over for a beer, but also to spring training. So Eli White, I don't know. He was a Ranger, wasn't he a Rangers prospect at one time?
Sounds about right.
Some other guy, but Taveras might be interesting. Some guy to have in spring training. Hey, in case Deshaun Kersey doesn't work out, but I think Deshaun Kersey's going to work out. Yeah,
Eli White had a decent little stretch with the Braves. He was worth 0.3 WAR in 35 games. I mean, that's very minute detail, but 113 OPS plus, 12-1 strikeout to walk ratio. So, like, if you were to really pare down, he had a mini Moniak there.
Right.
Anyway, Grisham, if you could get Grisham the idea instead of Grisham the player, I think that would be better. All right, let's run through these corner outfielders quick and see if there's anybody you like. Some of these guys are center fielder-ish, so maybe there's some value there. Miguel Andujar, $2.8 million. Great trade value. Akil Baddoo at 1.6. Dylan Carlson at 2.7. Brian De La Cruz at $4 million. Jake Fraley at 3.3. Sam Haggerty, $900K. Austin Hayes, 6.4 million. Sam Hilliard at 1.7. Ramon Laureano at 6.1. The previously mentioned MJ Melendez at 2.5. Jesus Sanchez of the Marlins at 3.2. And Mike Yastrzemski at 9.5. Was Sanchez the one that I brought up the other day with crazy batted ball metrics? I'm trying to remember. I know that the Marlins had an outfielder who had crazy exit velocity but didn't have the results to match.
Maybe. I don't
I'm
know.
looking it up now because I figure on FanGraphs it will probably have 317 weighted on base average, 345 expected.
Mm-hmm.
That to me screams, let this guy swing a little bit more. He is a left-handed swinger though, so I don't know that there's
a baby left-handed swinger.
Probably not a fit there though, as far as a player type. But if you wanted to try to find lightning in a bottle, I think Leody Taveras in center and Jesus Sanchez in the corner might be an option there. Akil Baddoo, former Twins prospect, actually wears these chains that I have, the humility chains, which is kind of cool. And then Laureano, I don't think is a center fielder anymore, but right-handed bat who got out of Cleveland and started hitting a little bit with the Braves. And I like MJ Melendez. I don't know why he's not catching anymore. But
he wasn't that good at it.
He's not good in the outfield either, which is a shame because he can't hit right now. And I still see he hit a massive home run against the Twins in Target Field this year, but I don't know. I see a hitter, and sometimes I just my eyes deceive me, but I see a hitter there.
I think, the best hitter in this group is Jake Fraley.
I like Jake Fraley.
But, I don't know if he can stay healthy. I don't know what his defense offers you anymore other than maybe left field. Maybe. Yeah. He's left-handed. So I like the idea of Jake Fraley. I totally invite him to spring training too.
Yeah.
But you've got Trevor Larnach. You've got young Jake Fraley. So that's a bit redundant. I don't – Dylan Carlson, I had hope for him at one time. That's a guy that I don't know if it's going to happen for him or not. There's some talent here. Austin Hayes is a guy that every once in a while that trade did not work out for the Phillies, but I thought it might. I thought he was going to be a good – I mean, there's a right-handed guy. Austin Hayes might be a guy where you could pair him every once in a while and play him instead of Larnach or your other left, Wallner and right.
There's a hack.
That's a guy that kind of makes sense.
There's a hack here, though, because if you sign Miguel Andujar and get your hands on Clint Frazier, you can trade for literally any player in Major League Baseball by doing Andujar plus Frazier. Yankee fans have been doing it for the last 8-10 years. So if you get both of those guys, no, but I thought the Twins were going to trade for Andujar when he was hitting pretty decent at the beginning of the year for the A's, and they needed right-handed hitting help, and they just insisted on Manuel Margot. And Andujar is a converted infielder. He wasn't good in the infield. He's not. I don't think he's very good in the outfield either. But for right-handed bat,
if the Twins do lots of weird things like trade Trevor Larnach, and you wanted to put Wallner in left, Mike Yastrzemski would make some sense. You could play him in right field, but you got to move Larnach first. You can't add Giants Max Kepler and Alex Kirilloff if he never got hurt. Whatever analogy you want to make with Yastrzemski. Yastrzemski's good, a good player. He's a good defensive guy. He's a decent hitter. Of course, you look up his numbers and maybe you won't find that, but that's a guy you could bring in too. That he's got a career 110, 113. He's got a career 114 OPS plus. His numbers are muted because it's San Francisco and it's a hard place.
Very hitterish
for left-handers, especially. So, he's not great. He's not, juice ball, 520 slugging percentage, 570, whatever. He's more like a 440 slugging percentage, but that's in a hard hitting environment. So 18 home runs.
Like Brandon Belt.
Yeah, but maybe a little better defensively. So actually, I'm kind of talking myself into Mike Yastrzemski a little bit. But again, this would be if they did a bunch of moves and move some guys around, which I think maybe they should.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do that yet.
Well,
let's see. Yastrzemski, yeah, he's a plus player in fielding
Yep.
Bible. He's got 4 defensive runs saved.
Mhm.
That's it would be kind of expensive. If he's not tendered at $9 million, you'd probably have to pay him $8 or $9 million.
and the Giants are going to be big fish, big game hunting, aren't they? Kind of going for bigger
Yeah.
players, so they may want to
Yes.
trim some of the margins.
But they also, Buster's probably going to want to make good on the promises that Farhan really never came through with. And so I expect the Giants to make a lot of mistakes, actually.
Yeah. Fun fact with Andahar, not even 30 yet, still 29. That my favorite was Julio Teheran was didn't turn 30. Didn't turn 30 until like 2021, and it felt like he'd been around forever. Anyway, we've gone way over time and we haven't touched on pitchers yet, so we'll do that in our next episode. And so in doing that, he's Dave Brown, I'm Brandon Warren, and when we come back for pitchers, we will Casilla tomorrow night.
Santiago Casilla.
Alexi.
Because we're doing pitchers.
Oh, yeah.